Leonie Dawson refuses to be categorised a podcast. Hi, Chicken Littles. Hello. This is just going to be one of those episodes of entrepreneur in car doing school run and talking shit. Like it's been a little while since I've done that, but who knows? Shocking memory. Thanks, ADHD. Hope you're all doing as well as can be expected in wild and woolly times. I've just woken up from a nap. I'm feeling a bit drowsy. I mean, that's not the things that you want to hear, like somebody driving a car, right? I just feel a bit drowsy. It's just been a really eventful week, 7 days plus. It's been pretty intense, so let me walk you through some of the intensities. My kid currently both of my kids go to a small school, and we were planning for our eldest to attend this, like the high school that's attached to it for next year, even though it was very, very small. Both our kids are really happy there, so we're like, okay, we'll just keep them there. And then last week my kid was like, hey, I've decided I'm not going to that school and I'm going to go to this school instead. And we're like, oh, okay, wow, yep, okay, that's exciting. And then the day after that, and like my kid just somehow, I don't know, she's just like a duck. She manages to very easily like kind of swim out of situations that aren't her jam. I don't know if duck's the right word. But, you know, she looks really graceful on the surface and she's pedaling underneath and manages to, just put herself in the right place at the right time. She's pretty amazing like that. She's very intuitive like her daddy. Anyway, so we're like, oh, okay, right. So we went on, we had a little school tour of another school. And then the next day we got a shock announcement at the kids' school that the high school program was closing down because it was too small. And so that's been just a bit of a shock for us because we've kind of centered our lives around this school for the last sort of 3.5 years. And it's, it's just a bit of sadness, I think, and disappointment and shock, of course, because you're like, oh, shit, like, yep, my kid has decided she wants to go to another school, but we're kind of thinking, well, okay, well, at least she'll be able to have something to go back to if it sucks, if mainstream doesn't work for her. And now we don't have that choice, and it's disappointing. And we were really hoping as well that our littlest kid, who's only 8, would be able to just do this kind of schooling the whole way through. And that won't be the case at this stage. So it was kind of like, whoa, okay, big world change for us. At the end of the day, I think it'll be a positive change. I really hope it'll be a positive change. It'll be an amazingly positive change. That would be so great. And I just feel like I really just don't want it to be a shit one, I really just don't want it to be a shit change. And then over the weekend, got some really, really kind of just sad and devastating news that one of my family members passed away suddenly, and not in my little unit, but somebody I have a lot of history with, and it's just a really challenging situation, especially since our families are really what's the right word? Not in good relationship with each other, if you know what I mean. If anyone's out there who's... No, I'm not. I don't want to say anything publicly. But anyway, it's just one of those very, very dysfunctional things, and it's really sad. And I wish things had been different. So, yeah, that's been a big one to work through. My husband's parents, they have this kind of ritual that we've continued on that, we could carry on that tradition and teaching it to ours, in that when someone passes away, you go and make an offering at the water, whether it's the ocean or a river, whether you put a flower in, and you just, make blessings and prayers for their journey and, give gratitude for their life. So that's what we did. I made up a little, a medicine bundle of herbs from our garden that me and the girls have planted, and I wrapped it with some selenite, which is like, I always see it as like the angel's crystal, and we took it to the ocean and put it in there as an offering for my cousin. Really, it's a big one. And I personally haven't experienced having someone who was part of my childhood, so much of my childhood pass away. My brother passed away when I was a kid, which was, traumatic in its own way. And this is a different experience again. I'm nearly 40 and I've lost my first friend from, those years. And, it gives you all the big feelings, And what else? Oh, and my sweet beloved husband. He broke his tooth last night in half, and they had to extract it this morning, the poor darling. And so he's off his he's off his sweet mind on codeine currently, because it was a 2-hour extraction this morning, and I'm like, oh, you poor love. So painful. So, it's just like big stuff one after the other at the moment. It's just like, holy smokes, a little bit relentless. And that feeling of like the middle-aged feeling of like, oh, when do I get a breath of air here? Like, when is it plain sailing where everything's cool, like nothing's shitting its pants, like when things are okay and I could maybe make some fucking plans. It's never, right? It's just never. It reminds me so much of the book More Than a Woman by Caitlin Moran, the English author, and it's one of my very favourite books. I read it last year. It's one of the best books I've ever read in my life, and if you're a middle-aged woman, I highly, highly, highly recommend that experience. And I ended up buying like a dozen copies of the book and giving it out to friends. And yesterday, one of my friends at school was like, oh, that book that you gave me last year, I just listened to a interview with Caitlin Moran on a podcast. I think it's called The New Thinkers, something, Academy, some shit. If you look up Caitlin Moran, More Than a Woman, you'll find something. Anyway, she was talking about, as a middle-aged woman, it's hard to find like rare and brave and honest stories and memoirs of women in the thick of it, and how she's so grateful for like the younger generation is writing, these books about, being 20s and early 30s and being messy and just going, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and she's like, it's so great, and so exciting to see that. And I also want like the middle-aged stories of like, oh fuck, it's a mess and I don't know how to like do all this, and yet I must, fuck, because I've got aging parents and children and things to just try and keep fucking afloat. Oh God. One thing I have been doing like the last few days, and it's been somehow bringing me peace and healing. My husband was showing me on Ancestry.com, we use .com.au, but of course it's worldwide. But they had this new feature where if there's black and white photos on there, you can colorize them. You click a button and it does a little whirligig for a couple of seconds, and then it like brings it back to like being full color. And it is like a magical fucking experience to like have like put in black and white old photos that you've always seen and suddenly see color photos. It is so beautiful, and really healing. And I realized, like, you know, I know part of my family, and sometimes it's hard for me to feel like I can do, like, you know, ancestral healing or feeling like I've got ancestral support when I've had like really dysfunctional relationships with, you know, kind of a decent chunk of my family tree. And it's been really nice to kind of go and look at the other parts of my family tree and find photos that other people have uploaded there and then colorize them. And there was some fucking magnificent looking humans, and they just look so gorgeous, and I feel like I can connect with their spirit. You know, like my grandfathers, my maternal grandfathers had so many sisters, and I never met any of them. And they just look so brilliant. They look so fucking phenomenal and just sassy and wild and spirited. And I love that. And, you know, working back through the tree and just seeing all these names and colorizing all the pictures and bringing them to life. Like, it's actually been really beautiful and really healing. And I also found my husband's parents, some of their parents who've passed away, and I colorized their photos and I showed them, and they were really, really touched to see their parents again, because they've been gone for a really long time, and really touched to see them in full color. So that's been really beautiful. What a blessing. What a blessing. I've also given myself ice train because I read 8 books in a weekend, finished them all. But I don't know, it sort of feels like it was worth it as well, because I read some fucking great books. So the first book I read was The Pursuit of Influence by Olivia Yallop, and it is phenomenal. Highly recommend if you're at all interested in like the online world and the history. Like, it's not a how-to. It's not it's not how to break the internet, you know. It's not even called Pursuit of Influence. It's called Break the Internet in Pursuit of Influence. Sorry, just realised. And stop radio. I don't need to hear from you. Break the Internet by Olivia Yallop. So it's not about how to break the internet. It's not how to influence. It's more like a journalistic perspective of the birth of the internet, the rise of bloggers, you know, and I'm a blogger first and foremost, and then social media and how businesses have worked with that, and also like the real downsides of it and the conflict, and it was fucking riveting. I had a highlighter and I was highlighting every single page. I just could not put the book down because it was that fascinating. So if you're a bit of an online nerd like me, you may find that a really good read. I also read Vaccinated. No, what is it fucking called? It's by Diane Johnson, and it's a Crikey read. Crikey is a Australian independent journalist site. It's something about unvaxxed or unvaccinated. Anyway, it takes like an Australian journalist. It's an Australian journalist, and she takes that perspective and looks historically at how the anti-vaccination movement was created, what forces have kind of co-opted it, and also like how it bloomed in COVID times. And it was just really fascinating, especially like some of the rhetoric that you hear now is rhetoric that was happening, 150 years ago plus. and and then it looks into the science about what backs up what. Spoiler alert, I do want to be really transparent. I am pro-vaccination because I, for one, don't love childhood communicable disease. Oh, my God. But I get that it's like such a contentious topic. And for me, it actually definitely like helped me recognize what was like how to have more compassion and understanding for people who are really worried about vaccines, and how to stay in relationship with them so that they don't become kind of radicalized further. And also, to keep relationships, because relationships are really important. Anyway, so if you're interested in that kind of thing, I can really recommend that book. It's a very short read. It's The Crikey Reads is a new imprint of Hardy Grant, which is an independent publisher here in Australia. And they have some more kind of micro books coming out shortly, including The Rise of the Teal Independence. So I've already pre-ordered that one. They were books I could read in the space of a couple of hours, and just gave a really great overview of stuff, really. Made me feel very well read afterwards, even if it did give me an enormous amount of eye strain. Right. So, has there anything else been fascinating happening? Oh, we just did a scholarship round for Black, Indigenous, people of colour, people with disabilities, LGBTQIA plus community, and really thrilled about that. I think we've given over 150 scholarships this round at least, which is really lovely. And I love seeing all the new faces popping up in courses and things like that, and getting so much out of them, which is really awesome. I'm trying to think of what I want to focus on next, but then I look at my schedule for the start of this year, really, and it's been hectic, and I think I may just need to take like another month of not launching nothing, regroup and, tend to my creativity and all that kind of stuff. So that'll be really good. And I think as well, I definitely need to remember, I do need to go hang out with friends, because it's probably been months and months. I totally forget. No, I did do something maybe 7 weeks ago. Oh my God. That's not that long ago. It's probably time. But I totally forget, and then I wonder why I just feel sort of disenchanted and a bit dry and sad. And then I'm like, oh, that's right, because you haven't seen your friends in a really long time. You haven't laughed and talked shit, and you really need to. I'm I have really low social needs, so it's not like I need to see someone every day or every week. That would burn me out totally. But I'm so centered on being at home that I forget, oh no, I do need to leave the house. I do need to go actually see friends. So, hot tip. Look, the life coach of 20 years is telling you sometimes friends are useful. Sometimes it's a good thing. All right, I'm going to go collect my kid from school. It's been really nice to have a chat. I love you all. Thinking of you all. If you like this kind of shit, email support@leoniedawson.com. Sometimes doing a podcast makes you feel like you're just throwing crap out into the void and seeing what happens. And sometimes it's really nice to hear a little voice go, I heard that and I liked it. I go, oh, wow. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? That's nice. Righto, babes. Stay rad. I'll let you know how I go with continuing to nap hard. Napping hard. Is this midlife? Because I'm napping hard. All right, okay, bye. Love you, bye. You hang up. No, you hang up.